How is it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you that are new here, my name is Ethan Bridge. I'm host of the Social Media Marketing School podcast and the guy behind the Instagram page at The Marketing Ethan. Now, if any of you do actually follow me on Instagram, you will understand that my content is incredibly simple. I'm not one of these people who overdoes the design, uses far too much text that every post seems like you're reading a book. Every slide is just one line of text. And there's no design whatsoever. It is just one line of text on a blank background. Sometimes I switch up the background color between black and white, but nothing insane. Yet I've still been able to amass the following I have. And in today's podcast episode, I wanted to just talk about why creating simple content, in my opinion, is far superior to creating something that is incredibly complicated. For example, where you have all of these different design aspects, or you use loads of different texts and you make it really busy. I much prefer the simple style of content, and I'm going to go through a couple of the reasons why that is the case, and maybe why you should implement simplifying your content into your Instagram strategy or any social media marketing strategy for yourself. So there are a couple of reasons why people may not engage with your content in the first place. One, they just don't care about what you're talking about, or two, they cannot be bothered to read it. Microsoft did a study and they found that the average attention span of a human being is just 7 seconds. 7 seconds, that is nothing. So if you, on your slides of your carousel or your infographic or anything on your piece of content, have something that's keeping that person fixated for more than 7 seconds, you're risking losing the attention of that viewer to the next post because they cannot be bothered to read it. So by keeping your slides to a minimum with regards to the text, you increase that average retention time. Go onto Instagram and you'll see it for yourself. You won't read through a carousel that has 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8 lines of text on every slide. You'll scroll to the next one. You'll just subconsciously look at it and go, even if this is super valuable, I just cannot be bothered to read this. Whereas the next post may not be as valuable as the previous, but if they've only got one line of text on each slide, you're far more likely to read the whole thing. And that's just because of your attention span, not because of your willingness to want to consume the content dependent on the value. You just don't want to spend too much time consuming one piece of content when you know for a fact you may be able to consume 5, 6, or maybe even 7 pieces in the same amount of time as that one you were just viewing. So that is the first point to consider. Retention time. You are much more likely to have someone view your whole carousel or your whole piece of content if there is far less text on it. Because it's social media at the end of the day. If someone wanted to go and read a book, they would go and read a book. They're reading a piece of content on social media. The attention span on social media is already pretty slim. You've got to grab that attention within 3 seconds for someone to even consider consuming that piece of content. And if that first slide is just a ton of text, you're never grabbing that attention. So try and keep your text to a minimum. Try it. You may not have previously tried that style of text before, but it may work for you. So give it a go. You never know. Another point I wanted to mention is that many people believe that you can show expertise by making your piece of content incredibly complicated, having all this industry jargon, going into something in incredible detail. But when I mean incredible detail, I just mean you have far too much text on that one piece of topic. You aren't explaining the idea or the message in the easiest way possible for the person who is viewing that content to consume. In my opinion, more jargon, more text means less competence. Where some people believe that you show expertise by using these big industry words or you write more text about a certain topic, I actually think that if you're able to put across your message and make an idea incredibly simple using as little text as possible, yet still get that idea across, you are far more talented than the person that can use the big long words. You need to look at it as if a child were to be viewing your piece of content. If anyone can understand your piece of content, it's going to do far better than trying to explain it in a way that makes you sound clever. You're not clever because you use big words. You'll come across far more clever if you can make this super, super complicated topic seem incredibly, incredibly simple. And when your piece of content is applicable to more people, because you have made it so easy to understand, this also increases the chance of that post reaching more people. Because when you use really industry-specific language, or you use abbreviations, for example, that only certain people are going to understand, then you're disregarding all of those people that maybe very early on in their journey learning about this type of content or idea, they may not know about those abbreviations yet. They may not know what certain words mean. And therefore, you're completely ruling them out of enjoying your piece of content and consequently engaging with it. Whereas if you make it incredibly simple, then you're making your content more applicable to more people. And when you make it more applicable to more people, the engagement's going to increase, which increases the likelihood of Instagram pushing your content out on the explore page, on hashtags, to people that may not have understood it if it were in the previous way where you made it sound super complicated. So by simplifying something, ironically, you're making yourself seem more intelligent because you're able to make a super complicated idea simple, and then that's benefiting you because it's going to then reach more people. So there's no good me telling you why you should make your content more simple without me telling you how to make your content more simple. So let's just begin with a couple of examples that I've already mentioned. No industry jargon. You're completely disregarding anyone that doesn't understand it. No abbreviations. Again, completely disregarding anybody that doesn't know the definition of those abbreviations. If you're writing a carousel, maximum of one line per text on each slide. When you're creating your piece of content, read it. Whenever you take a breath, when you're reading through your copy, that is when you should move on to the next slide. Because you risk, when somebody's scrolling through it, losing interest at that point. Whereas if they can take a break in the piece of content, that's when they can take a break when they read through it. So then they're going to swipe to the next slide. And then you're going to keep them interested because it is keeping them hooked. And finally, I would just remove any unnecessary fluff. People love to overdo an explanation when it's not needed. I never ever go with the first draft when I am creating my piece of content. I write all my copy out separately and I'll probably read through it about 6 or 7 times because I know within that piece of content I've just mentioned stuff that doesn't need to be mentioned in an attempt to fluff it up and make it seem more interesting. When in reality, that's going to potentially lose interest because it is unneeded. You can still get the same message across without having all of that bulk text in the middle that wasn't needed. And then by doing so, you're also making those sentences shorter, which is lessening the risk of losing that person due to their attention span. It's all quite a simple process. You just want to keep things as simple as possible. The real talent when it comes to content creation is making any idea, no matter how complicated it may be simple. If you can do that as a content creator with every single topic you talk about, you will succeed. Because people are going to look at your content and go, wow, I really understand everything this person talks about. And when you do that, you're going to become well known in your industry for the topics you talk on. And people are going to share your content with others because they know other people will be able to understand what you're talking about, whether they're interested in your niche or not, because you have been able to make this super complicated topic incredibly, incredibly simple. That is the talent. So think about simplifying your content. Don't have all of these unnecessary designs that may distract from your point. Try just having text. Have a look at my content. Go to my account, The Marketing Ethan. 1 sentence per carousel slide. No industry jargon. No abbreviations. Nothing that may overcomplicate the message I'm trying to get across. Just one simple piece of content. And that wraps up today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, I would really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and turn on post notifications. I did just want to mention, though, that this is a part of my podcast series, Social Media Marketing School. And the audio version of the podcast is actually the place to be because I release this content a little bit sooner over there than I do here on YouTube. So I will leave some links in the description to where that can be found, but make sure you're subscribing over there. You won't be disappointed. Now, if you've got any questions with regards to anything I've mentioned, please just reach out to me on Instagram at @themarketingethan, send me a DM, and I'll make sure I get back to you no matter what. But I did just want to finish off by saying, if you have made it to this point in the video, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.